Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is a brand new mini campaign with a whole bunch of new players. Well, not all new, at least up, let's see if I can point in the right spot there, up there. V is no stranger to the channel here, but all the others, this is their first time in front of the camera here on Mini Terrain Domain, and I couldn't be happier than to have this wonderful group of people to join us for this brand new adventure that we are going to be taking you on called Harper's Tale. It is from this amazing book that is available. I know you can get it on Drive-Thru RPG as print on demand as I did. And I also got the PDF copy as well. The story behind this, just Google it, look it up. It's such a fantastic story about how this book came to be. And in a later episode, possibly in our finale, I would like to elaborate a little bit more on what went into the making of this incredible story. But it is named for the creator of the story, one of the creators and owners of the property, Harper, who, again, I will have a better picture and more info later on after we finish up here. But in just a moment, we are going to let all of these players introduce themselves and introduce their characters. And then in future episodes, I assure you, their names and their character names will show up on the overlay. So you can know who to follow and who to root for as we get going. So first off, we are going to get started with a couple of announcements. First and foremost, this campaign, Harper's Tale, it's actually called Hope and Redemption from Harper's Tale. This is episode 1, and we are going to be streaming every other Tuesday, starting with this Tuesday. And barring the occasional inevitable scheduling thing that may come up, it looks like between Christmas and New Year's, we have one game that we may not play, but this game will then run through about early February, running at every other Tuesday. So make sure you mark on your calendars that on Tuesdays at 8 p.m., you want to come here to Mini Terrain Domain. And of course, you can always hit that follow button wherever it is on the screen here and turn on notifications to be notified when we go live. And of course, this is at a different time slot than all of our MTD games normally are because we all want to get to bed at a reasonable time. So we are starting a little bit earlier, and we will be running about 2.5 hour sessions in this campaign. As per usual here on Mini Terrain Domain, I want to draw your attention down in the lower left-hand corner, immediately below Dr. B. You will see 3 logos. First and foremost is Jasper's Game Day. We are proud to be partnered with Jasper's Game Day, which is just an incredible organization that their entire mission is dedicated to raising awareness, education, and ultimately the prevention of suicide through tabletop gaming. And it is through partnership with that organization that every May we bring you Jasper's Stream Week, a week-long streaming event of gaming to fundraise for Jasper's Game Day. If you type !Jasper in the chat, as I am about to do here while simultaneously telling you about it, a chat command will pop up with a link that is a direct donation link if you want to support Jasper's Game Day. You can go to jaspersgameday.com and get more information about what this incredible organization does. Another way that you can support Jasper's Game Day and get a little something for yourself is by typing the word !coffee in the chat, as V has just done. The other logo down there, Initiative Coffee Company. We are proudly partnered with Initiative Coffee Company's Help Action to bring you Metade Roast Coffee. It is a wonderful Brazilian and Peruvian blend of coffee that myself and Dwight the Big Bearded Nerd personally taste tested and chose to represent the brand. For every 12-ounce bag of that coffee you purchase, $3 of that goes directly to support Jasper's Game Day. The final logo there in the corner is for Talon and Claw, our channel partner and sponsor. You can type in the chat !MTD Claw, and that will bring up the link to Talon and Claw's Etsy shop, where they have such amazing things as, now I'm just going to show you one of these dice vaults that I have, but I know GoblinKatie could probably come in with an armload of dice vaults from Talon and Claw. And I just got my Kickstarter notification today that my Whiskey Barrel dice vault is on its way. I'm very excited about that. But they've got DM screens, they've got coasters, dice trays and towers, all kinds of stuff. And the cool thing is, you follow that link, go to the store, pick out all your favorite stuff, and then before you check out, use code MTDClaw, and you'll get 10% off your order, and that will help to support the channel. So head on over there and tell them MTD sent you. Now, if we look over in the lower right-hand corner below Eugenio, I do want to draw attention to D&D Beyond. While not a sponsor, they have been kind enough to grant us insider access. So I use D&D Beyond to manage all of my D&D campaigns. We have the D&D Beyond overlay up, so you can see all of the characters that are going to be played tonight, who's playing what, and what we've got going on there. The two last things that I want to mention before we get going is you can type in !domain dice. There is a mechanic that we use here on Mini Terrain Domain called Domain Dice. Now, we don't have any of them yet, but actually, you know what? I think Hawkmere, looks like Hawkmere came in and gifted a sub. So you guys did earn a domain die. Looks like the notifications aren't quite going off. So look up above GoblinKatie, you'll see that blue D20 up there. The way these things work is for every $5 tip, for every 500 bit cheer, for every subscription, resubscription, if we get rated, the players will earn domain dice. They can use those to spend one to reroll any die roll. Any die roll. They can spend 2 to make me reroll any die roll. They can spend 3 to gain access to hit dice outside of a short rest. They can spend 4 to turn a failed death save into a success, unless it's a critical, then it takes 8 domain dice. And finally, 5 domain dice, the patron's blessing. You can spend 5 domain dice to turn any hit into a super crit. That is an automatic double max damage bonus. So keep that in mind. It's a way that you, the audience, can participate in our streams by subscribing, tipping, cheering, all those good stuff, as Raven Rolls just did. And you guys already get another domain die. So keep those going. I will try to stay on top of how those are coming in and make sure you are awarded appropriately. Now, the last thing that I want to mention is something that we mention about for that we mention on all of our streams before we go live. I'm going to try to fix this real quick. Somebody said I'm only coming through on one channel. I forgot to check the mono button. That should fix that. If not, you'll have to suffer through it for this first episode. This is the most important message that we do before every game. And it actually coincidentally is showing up right below me in the bottom of the screen in our scroll. You can come here to Mini Terrain Domain at any time and you can type the word !help. That doesn't matter if we're on the air or off the air. You come to chat, you type in help, and that is going to bring up some very important information. You will find the National Suicide Lifeline and the text number. You will find the Canadian Crisis Text Line, the Canadian Suicide Prevention Services, and there is a URL, opencounseling.com/suicide-hotlines, that has various hotlines, text lines, and other resources available in countries all around the world. The reason that we do this is because you matter. Whether or not you believe it, your presence on this earth makes a difference, and it can be a struggle sometimes. And I'm trying to do what I can to destigmatize mental health. I've been very open about my own struggles with anxiety and depression. And this year, late last year, but all this year, I've been seeing a counselor and getting treatment for that. And my life has been better because of that. So do not hesitate to seek help if you need it. As I said, there's all those great resources that are available, and they are waiting to take your call, and they can steer you in another direction if you need it. So please remember that. All right. Who's ready to play some Dungeons and Dragons? All right. We are going to start this off with introductions by each of the players and characters, and go ahead and take a moment and tell us where we can find you if you've got something you want to promote. And we're just going to start up here in the corner with V, and then we'll go clockwise around the overlay here. So V, get us started.
Okay, hi, I'm V Muse. You can find me in a lot of places. Best places to find me over on Twitter to catch everywhere else that I am going to be. Best place to find me for gameplay is here on Mini Terrain Domain, both every other Tuesday as well as every Thursday night for the Dawnbringers. I had to throw that in there. Tonight, I'm going to be playing one of my most favorite NPCs, now turned PC for this particular game, and I cannot wait. And that is Bianca Beltane, better known as BB. She's actually leaving her place and coming to check things out in Harper's Tale. So I'm super excited for it tonight. Can't wait to get started.
And as an aside, Dawnbringers is off this week, but next week we will be back, and V will be in the DM seat, taking us, the Dawnbringers, through, well, with new characters and such, but through BB's place.
I have plans. I have good plans.
All right, GoblinKatie.
Hey everybody, I am GoblinKatie, aka Katie Downey. I am playing Theodora Cain this evening, a human warlock. You can catch me on all the socials at GoblinKatie, and I appear, if you're interested in a D&D game on Sunday, you can check out D4. It's on twitch.tv/RackPunchATL or twitch.tv/D&D. And on Saturday afternoons, I can be found playing Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maidens on the Thread Raiders channel at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is twitch.tv/Thread Raiders. And that's me.
All right. I guess I said clockwise, so I guess that's you.
I just had to be like, where are we heading?
I know, I confused myself with that. I use digital clocks. Which way is clockwise?
When was the last time?
Where do I live?
Somebody check my sex. Hi, everybody. I'm Eugenio. You might know me as DM V. You might know me as DM Jazzy Hands on the interwebs. You can follow me on Twitter at DM Jazzy Hands. And I am the dungeon master and producer of an actual play D&D podcast called The Last Refuge. We just tomorrow will be releasing episode 1 of season 7 for us, which is mind-boggling. And I am also the storyteller for Into the Motherlands. If you're looking for something a little different on Sunday night and not going to go hang out with Katie, you can come hang out with me. Into the Motherlands is a brand new sci-fi setting, and we are powered by the Cortex system, which means that we have put together a set of mechanics based on the Cortex system that's going to be published for all of you to get your hands on pretty soon, actually. But we are a group of Black and POC creators that have created this new sci-fi setting. And we just had, this past Sunday, we had episode 3, session 2, because we streamed our session 0. And so we've got 9 more sessions Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/Cypher of Tyr.
And if you're like me and you can't catch the episodes live always on Sunday nights, they do premiere, I think, 2 or 3 days afterwards on the on YouTube. Is it a Motherlands YouTube or is it a Cypher of Tyr YouTube?
I believe Tanya puts it on hers. It's
okay.
It's on Cypher of Tyr,
it's on
and
hers.
we try and do it on Tuesdays. Usually. So yeah, you can absolutely check that out. And we've also got a Discord. We chat gets pretty busy sometimes, but we've got a pretty great Discord, and there's a watching live channel in there that people have been really enjoying. So anyway, check us out. It's been a good time so far.
All right, and last but certainly not least, Dr. B.
Hi, everybody. So I am Rafael Boccamazzo, better known as Dr. B. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology, and I am the clinical director of Take This, the first mental health nonprofit to serve the game community. And I am a huge fan of Jaspers and all they do to, help with mental health and very specifically suicide prevention. I am perpetually just around. I don't aside from occasional game called Clinical Role that I play with all mental health types, I am just kind of around. It's better you look for takethis.org than me, but if you're looking for me, I'm the Dr. B on all the socials. And I am playing Mr. Timothy Augustus, a human mind cleric, also known as a psychomancer.
All right.
I did realize after the fact that I did not introduce my character, which is fairly in character for him. I'll be playing Rodney Copperfield. Rodney is he's a rock gnome, and he casts spells. He's a magic user.
All right. Now, as we get ready to start into the actual game proper, and I promise you the introductions and announcements and everything won't run this long every week. But as we get ready to get started here, I do want to preface this by saying that ultimately we are all adults here playing a game, and occasionally you may hear adult language. And we also, and this is very important, we had a session 0 a couple weeks ago. We all discussed and laid out our lines and veils, and we talked about safety tools. So I want you, the audience, to be assured that we do have safety tools in place, that we have communicated and keep open communication with one another, which is something that's very important when running these games. And we will be using those safety tools as necessary. So just be aware of that as we get ready to start our first episode. Welcome to Grove. Now, Grove is a very small village that is nestled near a river known as the Sludgewater in a part of a large unnamed forest. Or rather, this portion of the forest is only named Grove because of the town that is there. But despite its relatively small size, it is known in the region for its very calm but wonderful harvest festival that happens every harvest season. In fact, some of the recent, or at least one particular recent denizen of Grove that has gone abroad to study, has talked this event up to his friends and has encouraged them to come back home with him for this harvest festival. We see the waters of the Sludgewater so named because it seems to constantly be churning up silt as it rushes across the rocks and along the muddy banks, carving its way through the forest. We see a couple of deer, a doe and a buck, kneeling down or getting close to the water, drinking a little bit from it, and then dashing off into the woods. We hear bird song. We see rabbits occasionally coming out of the tall grasses. And then we hear a snapping of twigs. And we begin to hear the sound of voices coming from within the forest.
Damn it, baby, what did you do?
For the last time, Teddy, it was the usual way of travel. We've done this before. We have all done this before. Not quite sure exactly what happened. I just thought,
neat.
Indeed.
Okay, so we're around on the south bend of Sludgewater, and what's really interesting about the name of Sludgewater is because all the silt that it kicks up constantly, it's actually
Has
really
anyone
good
seen Pip?
Rodney, you didn't lose Pip again, did
No.
you?
Well,
Now,
I mean, I can summon him back if I need to, but it's such a hassle and it takes so long. Wizardly
check
rituals
the
and all.
sludgy water.
Oh, perhaps
Well,
it's
no, it's not
be-
dirty. You see, that's just really good. That's plant. That's silt that gets kicked up, and that's what makes the ground so good for planting. And that's why we're here for the harvest festival, because the apples are almost in season, and it's going to be wonderful. And they are in season, and we can go apple picking.
We can do what now?
Oh,
Yeah, so we're gonna go
boy.
apple picking because I already told my mom and my dad that I was bringing friends home, and they'll have the bunks made up, and we're gonna get to go apple picking, and it's just so much fun.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Down
sorry.
in
Did you
Timothy.
say bunks?
Duck beds?
I think I see Pip over there. I'll be back.
Well, yeah.
Dibs on the top bunk.
Well, of course you
Um,
want the top.
Well, always.
It's kind of a stack of 3.
Oh, well, now it's just
Three.
we'll leave that thought alone.
Well, okay, so I can take the hayloft.
that kind of bunk.
Timothy, darling, let's just get to your parents' house and we can explain our delay. I still don't know what happened.
found him.
Oh, good.
How wet is he?
Actually, he's not wet at all. He was upside down in a little bush over on the side of the road. Don't know how he got there. Clever little fellow.
And who is Pip?
Oh yes. So Rodney holds up his familiar, if you were to ask him. Pip is a chinchilla that is stuffed and animated with clockwork devices. It is his clockwork stuffed chinchilla Pip. Pip has seen better days. Not only does Pip have some leaves and twigs and other sort of dirt and such in his fur, but just sort of generally, you can sort of hear the gears grinding as Pip sort of nods his head very slowly and clunkily, and then raises it back up. But Rodney sure is treating him like he is a real life chinchilla, just petting him and checking him and scratching him.
Well, he looks his usual self at least.
That thing is not right.
Timothy.
I got to be
Don't
honest, it was a bit strange when he was all proper and fixed up and washed and poofed.
Just-
I appreciated Tamrin's help, but
Don't tell her that this is where he ended up. Maybe we can kind of remedy things before we get back to her
surely we
seeing
can.
him.
Timothy, make me a survival check
question?
at advantage.
Question. Can I feed Pip?
Oh,
Another question. You didn't bring Ginny, did you?
No, no. It'd be hard to explain to mom and dad that the keg eats things.
It's for the
They don't
best.
know what mimics
Yeah.
are, and I think her licking everything would be a little problematic.
You think?
Yeah.
I think that was a wise decision.
Wait, Timothy, where did you leave her?
Oh, back with all the other kegs at BB's.
Did you at least warn Evie?
Oops.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Oh, good.
Pip says he's full.
All right then, let's go pick some apples.
Yay!
Timothy, go ahead and make me a survival check at advantage.
Okay. Okay, I'm glad I have some advantage on that.
We're going to
First roll of the
die.
campaign. Oh, come on.
No, I did okay. I did okay that time.
Okay, good.
I did okay the second time. I got a 21.
Oh, you did.
Okay.
That's good. That's
So whether you were guessing or you actually knew exactly where you were, you are indeed on the southeastern side of Grove and on the southern edge of where the sludge water runs through. You can hear, though you can't quite see it from here, you can hear the sludge water a few hundred meters off to the northwest. You're standing at a junction where there is a footpath that leads primarily to the west. It's a little more worn. There's a less worn path that leads straight ahead. You would know that The path to the west is the primary route directly into Grove proper. But at the crossroads you're at, where the path leads to the north, that actually leads to the Bulkers farm.
And
Uh,
okay,
the-
well,
And you know the Bulkers as being a one of the most well, as your mother liked to say, one of the most fertile families in town. They have 7 children that are often seen running around the town, causing various degrees of havoc.
oh yeah, the Bulkers. I think I did. So they have some triplets, and I dated 1 or 2 of them. I don't know because they were a little mischievous and they like to switch places.
At the same time,
Timothy, I'm so proud of you.
Well, no, I thought one of them was Belladonna, but I think the other one was Belladonna, and there was a mean thing they did.
Was it?
There's a joke in there about a name being Belladonna, but I'm very tired and can't quite get it to come up.
that's
But we
okay,
should go-
Rodney. You
we
can
should
use it
go-
later.
We should go say hi to my mom and my dad first, because I've written all of them about you, and they would really like to meet you all.
Let's.
Oh, I'm just dying to meet them.
I can't
To
wait.
meet the people that raised Timothy.
Pip is very excited as well. He just told me.
Timothy, make me an insight check.
Are your friends being sincere or just humoring you?
I would like to point out that as Timothy is a psychomancer,
I know.
he has no common sense, but he gets people. Even with that roll, I got an 11.
Well, that is enough for you to notice, not the necessarily the way in which your companions are speaking to you, but rather it's uncommonly quiet in the direction of the Bulker farm. With 7 children, there is often a hive of activity. You know that they have a couple of dairy cows. They have a bull, though they don't primarily do a lot of breeding on their own. They do make a living by bringing their bull around for those purposes to other towns in the area. But you don't hear any of the children. You don't hear any of the sounds that you would expect to hear coming from the direction of the Bulker farm.
Huh.
What?
So I'm actually we should go say hi to my parents, but I'm a little concerned because the farm in the other direction of the fork in the road, they're usually a lot noisier.
Well, maybe they're having a quiet day.
No, they don't do that.
Bit of a lion.
No, they not with 7
No.
kids. They don't.
Timothy, is this one of those things you'd feel more comfortable if we stopped first and then went to your parents' house, darling?
Yes, ma'am.
Then let's do.
And you
You
do
know
know,
he's going to
Timothy,
be
of
pondering.
course you know, Timothy, that your home is all the way on the northwestern side of Grove. So are you heading north then towards the Bulker farm?
Yes.
All right. It doesn't take you long as you're walking along the pathway towards the farmhouse to see that there is a clearing about another, say, 50, 60 yards from where the sludge water carves its way through. You can hear the water much louder here, but you see this clearing, and nestled in the clearing between the forest and the river, you see a trio of buildings. One of them is a whitewashed 2-story home, the Bulker homestead. The largest of the structures is nearest. It is the largest of the structure, and it is closest to the river. Out in front, hanging from a large oak tree, you see a pair of swings, unoccupied, just lightly blowing in the breeze. Beyond that, you can see that there is a barn and another small structure that looks like it is probably the outhouse.
Don't go in that one.
Why not?
Well, that's the outhouse, and this is a family of 9.
I was about to say how lovely it is here, but maybe we'll steer clear of that particular building.
What Rodney said.
Well, especially this late in the season. I mean, it's not so bad in the winter when things
We should
are a
go
little
check on the
colder, but-
farmhouse, I
Timothy,
think.
Timothy, you don't have to go into it. It's fine. Really, it's
We
fine.
follow. We're good.
Okay. So
Why
let's
don't
go
you,
to the main house.
Yes, best you lead because they're familiar with you. Apparently, a couple are overly familiar.
That was really embarrassing.
I think it's endearing. It
Oh,
means they both liked you
hush.
enough that they couldn't share, or they wanted to share. Wait, I'm trying to think of the best way to spin this for him.
No, Regina's kind of a troublemaker.
Something tells me I'm going
Timothy,
to like
you are
Regina.
such a gentleman that felt comfortable enough to be in your presence along with each other.
As you're walking towards the house, I would like all of you to roll a perception check. And again, Timothy, I'm going to give you advantage on this.
Oh,
16.
14.
non-natural 20.
Okay, 16.
All right. So it looks like it's going to be Rodney, I believe, is the first to notice this. As you're walking and just kind of looking around, you notice that the oak tree where these swings are hanging, it looks like it's a little weathered. Maybe it's a year or two old, but they're carved into the tree about 3 feet up. Is a heart, and in it are the initials BB and TA.
Timothy,
Yes.
what did you say the Belcher girl that you thought you were dating, what did you say her name was?
Oh, that's Belladonna.
Oh,
It's
I've
Regina
got-
who is the kind of the troublemaker.
Well, if it's any consolation, I think Belladonna really liked you.
Oh, hey. She didn't write.
Well,
Oh
she
my.
wrote in the
Are
tree.
you sure this was Belladonna and not another BB we know? And Teddy will look
Well,
accusingly.
Well,
at-
so that BB's never been here, so she couldn't have done that.
What he said.
certain.
Positive.
I mean, she goes everywhere.
Whether as a
Yes,
distraction,
yeah.
whether as a distraction or just through a luck of perception, Timothy, you notice as you're on the other side, as you're passing by the stables, where the Bulker family has 4 ponies that they keep in here, but the stables are empty. The stable doors are open. The stalls, which look as though they would require a heavy mucking. They've been allowed to, they look like they've been untended for a while, and the ponies themselves are gone.
Hey
It
everybody.
is rather ripe.
Hmm?
I don't like this, and because that's supposed to be filled with horses, and I awkwardly take the shield off my back and my mace out, awkwardly slinging it up on my shoulder. And like, I think I need to go check this out.
Oh, well, I mean, all right. Mightn't they
Oh, are
have
we
just
doing this?
gone to town for the harvest festival or something?
No, you don't leave
Considering-
a stable
no.
like that.
That's a
All right,
Herculean effort to clean up. That's not normal.
My second
Pip.
husband raised racehorses. You don't leave a stable like that.
All right. Pip, be ready.
Teddy, you notice that for a town that's supposed to be getting ready for a harvest festival, behind the stables and just past where the outhouse is, there is a cornfield that has stalks of drying corn. A scarecrow peeks up out of it, but none of the corn has been harvested. Are you all continuing towards the farmhouse then?
With shield in hand and mace at the ready.
All right.
Follow into nope, not Teddy.
I
That's
call
Teddy.
this the
Oh, Lord.
whack-a-mole form.
Effective.
You begin walking cautiously up the front steps. You hear the, which sounds much louder in the very quiet air around you. You can hear the shifting of leathers and cloth as you're moving. And as you step up, you hear the squeaking of the boards. There's a slight tapping sound as the screen door that's on a spring, just lightly in the breeze, just sort of clacking. You can see through the screen into the front entryway that the front door that is just on the other side of this sort of mudroom / porch is slightly ajar.
Theodora walks up the porch and stands at the door and turns around and looks at Timothy expectantly.
Timothy kind of sticks.
And nods at the door.
Timothy holds up a shield and kind of sticks his head in. Mrs. Belcher?
No answer.
Belladonna? Hello? Hello? Use the mace gently rapping.
The sounds
Hello?
fall kind of dead in the space, being muffled by a home that is filled with lots of knitted blankets and the draperies and the furniture that's in there and all this. So there's not a lot of space for the sound to echo around. But you also notice that there's a layer of accumulating dust. Do you
Listen, I'm
continue?
no expert, but when a place is full of people, dust collecting is not a thing.
I think you kind of are an expert.
Maybe we
Bigby,
should go
but
see
anyway.
your parents and ask about. I'm sorry, dear. Maybe we should go see your parents and ask about the Belches.
I'd feel really a lot better if we looked inside first.
Oh, fine. And Teddy will throw the
'Cause,
door open
this
and
is
just
a big
walk in.
family and they don't always have time to dust, but this is a little much even for them.
That's perfectly understandable, Timothy. It is a reason for concern. I completely agree.
Okay.
Hello, Belches. Are you here? Belcher? Belka? What is it?
I'm sorry, totally out of character. Every one of us has called them something different.
I've just made a note that they're the Belcher family now because that's the one you've most commonly called them.
It's my fault. I'm so sorry.
It's
Can I
fine.
retcon this it's not Regina who is the problem child, it's
no.
Louise.
Oh my God. Well, since we're going with the Belchers.
Belcher.
I love this too much.
Sure.
No.
All right.
Belchers, are you home?
You begin moving into the house proper. The first floor of this house is divided into a very large parlor and an eat-in kitchen. The second floor, as Timothy, you would know, pretty common for these type of farmhouses, and you've been in this homestead before, has a couple of bedrooms up on the second floor where the parents have their own room, and then the children are split amongst the other bedrooms.
Theodora is going to go upstairs and look for the parents' bedroom.
Okay.
And when she gets in there, she's going to look around to see if anyone has a journal or a diary in there.
All right.
Just going through stuff, not even caring.
So you hear Theodora's footsteps creaking and as they go up the stairs, and then you would hear anybody that stays downstairs, you would just hear from upstairs as they're moving through. Does anybody go up there with her?
I do, because I've got the shield.
All right. Rodney and BB?
I'm going to stay downstairs, and Pip and I are going to start cleaning up. which is going to involve lots of me patting Pip on the head and casting Prestidigitate on little areas around the room, which causes Pip to sort of run around them and clean them up and polish them and dust them.
Very cool.
That's great. Rodney, just make sure you don't do anything to the floor yet. I want to see if there are footprints first.
I'll start in the corner over here where there's definitely no one walking.
Perfection. Just make sure you shake him off when you're done.
Oh,
Last time he looked like a hairball.
I thought he was rather cute, but all right.
All right, Theodora, give me an investigation check, and I'll have the same thing from you, BB.
Okay. You said investigation?
Yep.
Yeah.
Y'all, this
Investigation
investigation is throwing me.
30, 20.
All right.
That is going to be an 18.
BB, you do not see any footprints in the dust except your own where you came in. Nobody has been in this house since the dust has been accumulating. Up on the second floor, Theodora, you move through, you and Timothy. I'm getting your names mixed up.
I know. I will
Timothy.
never forgive
There we
those
go.
two for Timmy and Teddy.
Timmy and Teddy.
Come on.
Well, normally I have the overlay to cheat and look at, but some designer forgot to put the names on this week. So I've got D&D Beyond open here. So as you're up there looking around, you find that there are the bedrooms, as I said, one is set up for 3 to sleep in, presumably the triplets room. And then another room is set up with 2 beds, and then another with 2 beds. And then the final room is the largest of them, which has a large double bed in it, a couple of nightstands, and a wardrobe. And because of your sort of looking specifically for this, Theodora, you spot indeed that there is a journal on the nightstand on the right side of the bed.
Oh, perfect. I love a good read. And she'll pick it up and flip to the last entry.
All right. As you flip through this, you do see that this journal is filled with quite a bit. This person that is keeping the journal this seems to be a pretty regular activity that they follow. Flipping to the last entry, though, you see that it is dated more than a week ago.
Interesting. They're fairly punctual about keeping this updated, and the last entry was a week ago.
I pop over your shoulder to look at it. Oh, yeah, that's Belladonna's. She's very good about journaling.
Interesting. Timothy, I think we need to go check on your parents.
That's probably a good idea, yeah.
Just call it a hunch. And she slips the journal into her satchel.
Okay.
Do I notice that?
I mean, unless you're trying to do it secretively.
No.
It's Teddy. She does everything extravagantly.
Yeah.
Hey,
There's nothing
hey,
subtle.
hey, Teddy, but that's
on brand.
Belladonna's, and we should probably leave it here.
I'll give it back to her when I meet her. I'll give it to her when I meet her.
But wait a minute.
It's
Hold on. Is that
research,
one of the-
Timothy.
Is that one of those double entendre things you mentioned?
Double entendre?
Yeah, that's the one.
Don't worry about it, darling. I'm doing some research. You wouldn't want to hold up research now, would you?
Yeah, but that's her personal property. Do we need it?
Yes. Until such time as we know she is safe, yes, we need it.
Okay, it's probably a good idea.
Thank you, dear.
Just please don't
Yes.
read any more than you need to. That's her personal thoughts and property, and we should be respectful.
I will only read what I need to read.
Do you read anymore?
Oh, as soon as I'm not around Timothy, I'll be reading it, yeah.
Good try. Good try, B.
I imagine as you're preparing to go down the
Looking
stairs.
for his name.
I imagine as you're preparing to go down the stairs that Timothy heads down, leading the way with his shield, and Theodora just sort of slips it out and flips through those last couple entries, and still going off of your investigation check, and because you were specifically looking at these entries, you actually notice that the last few entries, you see one word prominent on these pages: sickness. And you learn just in a quick look that the Belcher children all took ill over the course of several days, starting several weeks ago, until they began to fall into a deep sleep from which nobody could wake them up.
Oh, goodness.
What's so goodness?
It would appear that an illness has struck the Belcher family. We
What?
thought it might behoove us to get to Timothy's house, his parents' house, with a quickness, I would say.
Yes,
Considering
ma'am.
considering there's absolutely no evidence of anyone having been here for a while now, I want to make sure his parents are okay.
I have a feeling apparently the children each got sick and they were unwakeable. So I have a feeling that the parents took the horses, loaded up the kids, and headed into town.
Well, here's to hoping that is definitely the case.
If there's an illness here, I think we're best to skirt town first and go to your parents' house. And then if we can't find anything there, or if they're unaware of anything, then we can head on into town. Or we could just go pick apples, whichever one sounds more delightful.
Well, Timothy, you would know that in order to get to your home, you have to go through town. And you would know that your farm is where the apples are.
You know, Teddy, I do not appreciate the verbal irony right now when people I care about might be in danger. We need to, of course, go to my parents' farm. However, we will also go through town in the process where the apothecary / veterinarian is located. And we can also go, if we're hungry, get apples at my parents' farm because that's where the apples are.
Well done, Timothy.
I'm so proud of you. I love it when you grow a spine and stand up to me.
Has anyone seen Pip?
He's on your shoulder, honey.
Thank you.
Of course.
It's worth noting when you all are preparing to leave that one corner of the living room is incredibly clean. There's a rocking chair, a couple picture frames, and like 1/3 of the mantle are just incredibly clean, free of dust.
What on earth?
Isn't it a pip?
Ah, I see. Well, I believe that Timothy should lead the way, and we will head to his apothecary / veterinarian and then his parents' house. Is that the plan?
Well, yeah, we can talk to the apothecary / veterinarian on the way there and see what they know. And then we can go to my parents' place and check on them because I'm worried now.
How about we call an apothevet? Save time.
Apothevet. I like that.
Apothevet.
We just called him Dr. Bigby.
I like that much
Dr.
better.
Bigby.
Well, then let's go
Is
see
there
the
a
good
Mrs.
doctor.
Big?
Teddy.
Well, no,
No.
he was always perpetually single, and though he did spend a lot of time with his best friend.
We should.
Oh.
Maybe he's
good for
gonna
him.
giggle and like pick a piece of dust off Rodney's shoulder near Pip. Mm-hmm.
All right, then let's head out.
So you leave the Belcher homestead and you backtrack the couple hundred yards back to the trail and walk for about 3/4 of a mile until the path curves to the north. Around the bend, you see that there is a bridge that comes into view. Before it is a small wooden outbuilding. And immediately after that, a small tributary of the trail leads off to the west. The dirt path leads to the bridge that is made of rough, irregular stone. It is wide enough for 3 to walk abreast, with knee-high walls on each side as it curves, or rather arcs, gently to span the river. Now, Timothy, you know this bridge is called Lorelei's Bridge. And there is a long-standing tradition and legend that you know of regarding Lorelei's Bridge, that it is so named after a girl who waited there for hours for her father to return from a journey. And it eventually became a local tradition that typically every day somebody sits there on the bridge waiting from dusk till dawn for a loved one to return. When travelers are expected, when perhaps children are returning from school or showing up for a festival, somebody would be waiting for them on the bridge. So it is very odd as you approach Lorelei's Bridge that you see no one waiting there.
Just so you all know, this takes some explaining. So there's a legend about a person named Lorelei who waited for a loved one on Lorelei's Bridge, because this is a small bridge, why it's named Lorelei's Bridge. And as sort of deference to that tradition and that legend, there's always somebody here waiting on Lorelei's Bridge for a loved one all day to return. The fact that, and we kind of did it in shifts, it was kind of a volunteer effort based on the different people in the town. But the fact is, nobody's here right now, and that worries me.
That is rather peculiar.
Well, let's pick up the pace then, shall we?
Agreed.
I think it's a good call.
To the good
Timothy, are you
doctors.
all right?
Well, I'm worried.
Well, of course you are.
All right, dear.
Find out what's going on. It's all right, Timothy. We'll make it all right.
We'll take care of it for you, honey.
With you.
Yes, that too.
So, yeah, let's pick up the pace. Let's hurry and let's talk to let's talk to some folks in town and see what's going on the way to see my mom and dad. Okay.
Absolutely.
Take the lead.
I think that's a good plan.
As you approach Lorelei's Bridge, you pass by the small booth, the wooden booth that sits there to the side, and you can see inside there is a small writing desk, and there is a battered journal on it. You know that typically whoever waits here writes whoever comes and goes from the town in that journal.
Well, I immediately pick up the journal, look into it, see when the last time somebody was waiting and who was here.
Again, you find an unusual accumulation of dust. When you pick up the journal, it leaves a small square where it's a little cleaner, indicating the journal hasn't been touched in a while. You flip it open, and you see that there are names and dates written going back decades. And you flip to the most recent entries, and the last person to come or go in the town was over a 10-day ago.
Okay, so yeah, this hasn't been attended to in 10 days.
That's significant.
Yes, it is. I'm beginning to grow very uncomfortable with the entire situation.
Honestly, let's get going to the good doctors, and hopefully someone is there.
You all, as Timothy's looking at the journal, the rest of you hear splashing in the water, just off to the upstream side of the bridge. Not just the sound of the water splashing against rock or the bank. You hear a more deliberate sound of splashing taking place. Who takes a
Gonna
look?
look and see what it is.
As will I.
The sight
Yeah.
that you see is quite unusual as you look down and you see a rather large bull. And it is, or there's no other word to describe it. The bull is frolicking in the river.
Oh, bull. Oh my God.
What do you think I said?
BOWL, so did I.
That's what I thought. Like, like we're getting a Beauty and the Beast moment here, but no, we're getting
A large bull
Got it.
is
Got it.
frolicking in the river
A moo
with,
cat.
with
Moo.
a
With-
tabby cat perched on its shoulders, and seeming to be playing along with it. It's completely muddy from the neck down, is a Labrador Retriever.
Do I recognize them?
You recognize the bull as belonging to the Belchers. It's the Belcher Bull.
Oh, it's the Belcher Bull.
I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
What about the others?
You've been gone
I-
long enough, you probably don't recognize the tabby cat. But you can tell me who the dog belongs to if you recognize it.
Oh, that's Dr. Bigby's dog.
No, I wish I'd have made it a big
see.
beagle. Dr. Bigby's beagle.
But you know that's
J-
that's
Oh.
Dr. Bigby's dog, and that's the Belcher Bull. I don't know who the cat belongs to, but my experience has been cats kind of belong to themselves.
Very good. Does the doctor's dog
here's
normally run around like
question.
this?
I mean,
Exactly.
sometimes.
I mean, frolicking with other animal friends.
Well, I mean, given that Dr. Bigby is, the apothecary and veterinarian, there's a lot of animals that end up going to his office, and the dog has kind of a pack mentality and gets bonded to a lot of different animals. So occasionally, yes, but we're far away from town. So
He sounds like my friend Doolittle.
And as you're talking, you suddenly see the Labrador charges up out of the water onto the bank a little bit. The bull does sort of turns in a semicircle, then turns back, sort of frolicking a bit. And then the dog gets down low and it begins to growl, and the bull, standing just up almost in water, almost up to its haunches, it kind of ducks its head and it paws into the muddy water and lowers its head. And with a bark, the Labrador goes charging at the bull.
Oh.
The bull ducks its head lower. The Labrador runs straight up onto the forehead of the bull, who flips his head up, and the Labrador springs through the water, launched, splashes in, and begins swimming right back towards the bull, giving a little playful nip at it, and then running right back up onto the shore to do it all again.
I have never seen animals behave that way.
Well, I've seen some animals, but not of this variety.
Pip's really feeling rather inferior at the moment, if I'm honest.
Well, they
I'm
look like
sorry.
they're just playing, but we should really go talk to Dr. Bigby and anybody else in the town.
Yes.
As well as, can we please check in on my parents?
Should we bring the dog?
Yes,
with
let's
us?
go.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, we should bring the dog, maybe the bull.
No, the
I
bull
think-
can stay.
I think that's
What's the
probably
dog's
wise.
name?
You know what? I don't know.
He's just
Oh,
Dr.
for
Bigby's
heaven's
dog, eh?
sake!
Well, I would-
Poochie Pop. Poochie Pop, come here. Hello, Poochie
Okay.
Pop. Come on.
If
Phoebe's
that is
gonna
that
try
dog's
and
name,
get the dog to
I'll-
join us. She'll jingle her keys in her pocket to get the dog's attention.
I try and go up and pet the bull gently.
Oh dear God!
Okay.
the
The
cat
bull's coming
wants
with us,
nothing to
you-
do with us, I'm sure, so I'm good.
Cat's probably like.
It's the keg all over again.
That's what I was about to say. I'm like,
Any
first the
rope
keg, now the
around
bull.
bull's neck. Any rope.
There is no rope, but there is a prominent ring in the bull's nose.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Ignore the fact that you see me
Teddy
pulling books
reaches
off the
behind
shelf.
her. Teddy reaches behind her and begins unlacing the ribbon from her dress that cinches the waist. Here you are.
Oh, thank you, Teddy. And I'm gonna try and see if we can bring the bull with us. Okay. So I
Why the
try and
bull?
fashion a
Mhm.
little bit of a noose around
I'm
or
not.
with the
That's
with
fair.
the.
You can run it through the ring, dear. That's what the
Well,
ring's for.
we're gonna do that too, but we got to make the bull comfortable.
Hmm?
He's not wrong.
You are so considerate.
Oh, and I walk
Teach
up
me
to him.
a
Oh,
thing.
well, hey, Mr. Bull. Oh, I never learned your name, despite all the times I was at the farm. But hey, Mr. Bull, and try and gently pet it while trying to get the. Are there any apples or anything I can grab to sort of entice the bull? Or
You have no trouble.
Don't you have?
You have no trouble enticing the bull. The Labrador ceases its run and flip off the bull routine to the sound of BB's jingling keys, and just sort of prances over there, allowing you to walk up. And as you're sort of tying this ribbon around this bull, it's sort of just giving that occasional
hey, that's a good butt
in your
that's good-
face.
Hey, good buddy.
And the only resistance you encounter is as you reach around, the tabby cat sort of does that, bats at your hand, in a way that you're not quite sure if it's serious or if it's playing.
Sounds like a cat. But all right, nope. We just put that around and we put some of it through the ring and we just kind of gently tug on it. Come on, bull buddy.
Haven't even entered the town yet, and they have a cat, a bull, a Labrador,
Uh-huh.
and a chinchilla in the party.
This is how they work.
Teddy is
Excellent.
Teddy is actually going to walk over to the bull's back where the cat is and just hold out a single finger toward the cat's nose to let it sniff. And she's going to try to pick the cat up. Come here, you dear thing.
As you reach out, this cat suddenly sits up, and its body seems to elongate almost 3 times its length. Not literally, but it just as it stretches out and puts its arms up and towards you, like completely wanting to be picked up.
Mhm.
Oh, what Hemingway does.
All right.
And immediately you hear just, I can't do it,
There you go.
a heavy purring sound.
Yes, that's
The
right.
purrs.
He's my little baby.
I can do purrs.
Well, all
She'll
right.
start walking down the road.
So let's keep going. We got to bring the bull back because we can't. Farm animals are not cheap. And
All right, we've got the
valuable.
bull, the dog, and the cat, and Pip.
And the chinchilla.
Well, let's keep going.
All right, you continue your way into the town proper. As you cross the bridge, you find yourself coming into the main part of Grove, which consists of a handful of buildings. There is, of course, Milo Bellbottom's store, which is a sort of basic general store. There is the open air smithy. There is a communal root cellar where everybody contributes food for the town's supply. The Boot and Slipper is the local tavern and inn. There's a well in town. And just on the northern side of town, you can see the trail that is lined with trees that are filled. Even from here, you can see the ripe red apples of the Augustus orchard and homestead up on the far northern side of town.
I approach it like, see
you
all those? That's the start of the Augustus apples.
what you mostly don't see
Very nice.
is people.
Is it always so quiet here?
Well, I mean, kind of, but not this quiet. The Boot and Slipper's usually pretty hopping.
There is a
Yeah,
path.
this is
There is a path that leads to the east that you know leads to the Crane home, another farmstead. Now that you're here in town, there is one other thing that you notice. You probably don't think much of it, Timothy, but the others of you do notice that you see stretching for hundreds of meters from east to west, rising 45 feet into the air, is a jagged tooth of black rock.
Oh, is that one of the dark pillars?
Has that always been here?
Oh, one of the what?
Oh, back in Carrion Creek, the dark pillars that the unnamed commune through.
We just called that Black Rock Rising.
That's very straightforward.
Well, don't have a lot of time when there's farming to be done to make creative names.
That's fair enough.
Fair, I suppose.
So what is
Wait,
your path? Are you
well-
going to continue straight through town towards your homestead?
Well, I think we need to briefly pop our heads in to see if there's actually anybody in, especially the doctor's office.
Mhm.
Yes, of course. Dr. Bigby's vet and apothecary is on the eastern side of the town. There's a small stable that marks it with another small building attached directly to it. And you see this wooden sign that's hanging that has the burned into it is what looks like a mortal and pestle with the RX. But you also see both a silhouette of a humanoid shape and an animal shape, indicating that they treat all manner of living organisms.
One stop healing, Dr. Bigby's.
I can get behind that.
And of course, the lab
Ugh.
immediately runs up towards the front entrance to Dr. Bigby's. Pause at the door, at the bottom of the door, scratching a little bit, and you see as you approach it, there are some pretty significant and recent scratch marks at the base of this door, but the door remains closed. It looks as though this dog has repeatedly come here and tried to get inside, but to no avail.
Okay, this is
So-
actually hurting my heart.
It's a bit hard to look at, isn't it?
Yes. Oh,
I
God,
open
you
up the door and
thing.
let the dog in.
Oh.
The door opens and the dog charges in. You hear it sort of running through its toenails clacking on the hardwood floor as it runs through the space. And only a moment later, it comes back out and sort of looks at you, cocks its head, and moves over towards the cold hearth where there is a dog bed. And it sort of gets into the dog bed, curls around a couple times, and then just and sits its head on its paws
no.
and it just kind of looks up at you as it sits there.
Oh,
Oh, sad animals get me every time.
Aw.
Well, all right.
Maybe make it better.
Ugh.
Hey, buddy.
It's all
I
right, Colin.
I kind of tie the rope for the bull up on a hitching post, and I just bend down for the dog. And I'm like, hey, buddy, you should come with us.
There's
Come
sort
here,
of, as you
darling.
say that, you get that sort of thump, 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 thump as the tail kind of wags expectantly, thumping the floor, but it still just kind of sits there.
Phoebe does produce flame in her hand. Come here, darling. I'll make sure you have something warm. Come on.
Oh.
I'm not gonna hurt the dog.
well, I didn't think you were going to hurt him. I just thought, I wasn't. Maybe some bright light is attracted like a moth or something.
Well, no, it's clearly wanting to sit by the fire, and if we can kind of say, "Here's the fire, come along."
No, I agree. It makes perfect sense. This is
I
not where
think
my
it's
head
one of its
went.
bed.
Then we bring the bed too, and she'll walk over and she'll kind of nudge the dog to kind of lift the bed up. You're coming with us, darling.
I want you to make a persuasion roll, and you can either use persuasion or you can use animal handling.
Well, it is baby, so we're gonna go with animal handling.
Mhm.
And that's going to be a 19.
That dog
Yeah.
eagerly gets up and
Yes.
will stick to your side.
Okay, well, we got the
All right,
pup.
let's get going.
Let's put the
Yeah.
bed on top of the bowl.
So long as
Let's
the
just
dog
leave
isn't-
the bed here and take the dog.
Where's the
I
dog going
don't
to sleep
mind
then?
carrying the bed.
The dog can sleep on the floor.
I'll carry the bed. It's fine. We're
Well, we
good.
got the bull. Okay. I unhitch the bull and I kind of nudge it a little bit. Let's go. Let's go to the farm. Let's go to the farm, buddy.
It's
Rod-
your parents I'm
Mhm.
concerned about.
Rodney, what's your passive perception?
11.
That's enough.
Sorry.
It's enough. As they're
It
dealing
never
with
will
this,
be again.
as they're dealing with this stuff. You're just sort of looking around, and you notice that there's an area behind a counter where there are these very nice handmade wooden cupboards with glass windowed fronts. And you see a few bits and pieces of stuff left over, but a couple of these are open. Just enough for you to know that this is where medical supplies were kept. But all of the medicinal herbs, bandages, anything of that nature has been cleaned out of this place.
I think we might do well to be careful walking around town and into people's homes, and sort of points back to the cleaned out medical cases as we're leaving and just says, if it was some sort of sickness, what got the Belcher children, it must have run its course through the old town, it looks like. We best be careful not to catch it ourselves, you know what I mean?
Oh, we should
Agreed.
get to my mom and dad's
Indeed.
place.
Yeah, I agree. We should, and maybe, maybe if we made some sort of masks or something, just to keep everybody a bit safer.
You're not wrong. Here, we'll take my sash. I don't mind cutting it up for us.
Oh, I can.
Take the sash
Oh,
off her
thank
waist.
you, BB.
Oh, I can't mend it back. I'm sorry, I didn't.
You are
learn
too
that spell.
kind.
It's fine. I can take care of it later. I have plenty.
All right then.
She'll make like quick little makeshift masks for everyone. She'll like take a pair of scissors or something near the medical supply area.
I'm going to go ahead and award you all a point of inspiration for wearing a damn mask.
Cool.
As I was saying it, I was like, oh, well, yep, okay, here we are.
Well,
Mhm.
I didn't plan on it, but hey, if you're
It's
wearing
great.
a damn mask, you get inspiration.
Get inspiration.
All right. So you're masking up and heading back out into the town, and you're continuing to work your way through that much more eager, Timothy, to get to your homestead. As you sort of pass by the central part of the town, this town square, there's a couple places that have been that have been served as a sort of decoration. There of course is the very functional well of the town here. There's also a small area that has a statue that is to some possibly to you, some long forgotten founder of the town. But there's some nice landscaping around it. And a very prominent shrub that sort of sits at the base of this. And as you are passing by the statue, which is on your way up the road towards your homestead, you hear, "Psst." Psst.
Teddy looks
It's-
around.
I'm sorry, but who's going? Psst.
Not me.
That would be me.
Don't be
Me, you
frightened,
need to
Pip.
show yourself.
This is a voice you recognize, Timothy, though you've not heard it in quite some time. It is, of course, Grove's awakened shrub that sits at the base of the statue. What is this shrub's name?
Oh, I forgot to tell you all. So there's a few surprises around Grove, and that's Reginald the talking shrub.
I'm sorry, Reginald the talking shrub.
Yes.
Yep, that's my name.
Can I call you Reggie?
Oh, he doesn't like that. No, he goes by Reginald.
I do not like to be called Reggie. It's not my name. The name I was given was Reginald. Just as I
Really?
know the name you was given is Timothy Augustus.
Hey there, Reginald. What's going on there, pal? There's no one in town.
No, you're the first I've seen in well, it's been several days.
So there's nobody been around for several days. This is Harvest Festival. What have you been hearing?
Not a lot. Usually I'd like to just watch the people walk by, go about their daily business.
You
What
need
keeps
any-
me
you need any
growing from
clipping?
day to day?
Well, so yeah, Reginald, buddy, do you need any clipping or any watering or feeding or anything? Because if there's nobody around, how you getting all taken care of there?
It rains. No, it's been a few days. Ain't seen nobody in days.
I'm sorry, but are
Reg-
you singing?
What was that? Like legit, I
It's
didn't
not-
hear what you said.
I didn't
It sounds like you were starting to sing there, Reginald.
Oh.
I can guarantee you I wasn't singing. No.
Reginald, Mrs.
no, go
Theodora
on,
Cain,
Theodora.
it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Just a question. You didn't happen to see where the people went when you last saw them, did you? Did you happen to notice the location they were heading to?
Well, over the last few weeks, fewer and fewer people come through the town center here. And occasionally, I seen a few of them heading up down the way of the Crane farm. Them two girls that maintain the Crane homestead, they've been coming and going. I seen them take the doctor, bring them up there. I seen them take some kids and bring them up there. But they done touch those others that's walking around town here.
What others?
Don't know 'em. They ain't taking the time to introduce themselves. Four
That's
of 'em.
rude of him. I mean, did you say hi as well? I mean, especially if you said hi and they didn't introduce themselves, well, that's just manners.
I only said hi here 'cause I recognized you, Timothy Augustus.
Well,
If
thank-
you weren't
thank
with these
Reginald.
other three, I probably wouldn't say nothing. Most people don't take too kindly when a bush
Oh.
starts talking to 'em.
I'm sorry, Reginald. That's really rude of me, wasn't it? I need to introduce you to my friends. So this is Miss Beebe and Miss Theodora Cain. I call her Teddy, though you probably shouldn't. And this is Mr. Rodney and Pip.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Not sure which one's Rodney and which one's Pip, though I guess it don't matter.
Rodney
It's
looks like
all
he's
right,
about
we
to
often aren't
clarify.
sure either.
Rodney looks like he's about to clarify, but then when he gets to the part about not sure it matters, Rodney sort of agrees. Shit.
Hey, Reginald, you're seeming a little down in the dumps there, pal. Is there anything we can do for you?
But I'd sure like to know what's going on. I miss seeing people walking around the town. If it keeps up like this, I might have to uproot myself and find another town.
Wait, you can do that?
I've never really tried it, but I imagine I probably could.
I'd be happy to extend an invitation to my place. You'd be in good company.
I'd invite you to where I'm from, but I think the chupacabra would try to hide in you, and goodness knows nobody needs that.
Not quite sure what a chupacabra is. Not entirely sure I want to know, nor do I want it up inside my bushes.
You'd fit right in with us. It's been a pleasure. Look, I'm a little. I think we're all a bit concerned for Timothy Augustus's family and the rest of the town. Just one more question, if I might. When you said that you saw the Cains taking up the doctor and the children, did you see them coming back?
Occasionally they come back. Last I seen them was a few days ago. One of the girls come back, left with the wheelbarrow full of the stuff from the doctor's office.
Oh, right. Excellent. Well, they've been most helpful. Thank you so much.
Do what I can.
Well,
I'll remember your invitation. I'll remember your names. I hope to see you and perhaps the rest of the town back here.
Well, yeah. So, hey, Timothy, hey, Miss Reginald. Sorry, I'm a little worried about my parents. I think we need to get going.
Yep. You rightly should be worried about them. Ain't seen them in quite some time.
All right. Well, that's not terribly encouraging. Why don't we go on our way?
Thank you so much, Reginald.
Yes,
You've been
let's
a wealth of information. Timothy, let's get going, darling, and don't worry, we're going to get this figured out together.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Should we head straight to the Cain farm? I expect they probably went there as well.
Yes,
That's
please.
not, yes.
All right.
As you turn to leave, for a moment, the Labrador lingers behind, and then you hear, "Don't you even think about it, dog." And then you hear what sounds like a switch cutting through the air, and then you just hear a little yelp. And the Labrador kind of scoots up ahead and right up next to you, BB.
Well, if you figure out a better place to go, you wouldn't run into this issue. Remember, plants are people too. Apparently, this one especially.
I see people in chat are talking
No
about my
arguments yet.
vocal cords. I didn't
Yeah.
know.
R.I.P. Your
I-
voice.
I didn't know what the bush
Right?
was going to sound like until he started talking.
Oh no!
I've tried every voice that I could think of, and apparently it's a swing blade. So
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
or sling blade. I don't know why I said swing blade. Anyway, so
Sling
you're
blade,
heading
yeah.
east
Sling
now
blade.
towards the Crane home.
Mhm.
All right. As you make your way along here to the Crane home, you see that there are similar to the others. You see that there are three, or the other farm, that there are three buildings built of rough-hewn, unpainted wood from the nearby forest, sitting in a clearing that sort of butts up. The smaller of the two of these buildings butts right up against what you call Black Rock Rising, but which you know is officially called Mount Candelino. You see that the rock rises high up above the houses. There is what looks like what may have once been a mine entrance, but it is caved in by collapsed rock, and a pile of rubble full of weeds and grass. That this mine shaft has been closed for a long time. Timothy, this isn't a recent thing. There is the main house, the root cellar, and there is a barn here. You still have the bowl in tow with you?
Oh yeah, we gotta take the bowl. We gotta save the
Of course, of course.
Everybody has an animal with them.
bowl. Yep. Everybody
Yep.
has an animal with them, so we can all save the animals.
Yes.
All right. Where are you headed?
Well, we gotta go to my parents'
The
place.
Crane
Oh,
farm. Oh, I thought we were going to the Crane farm.
Right?
Well, are we going to the Augustus farm? We gotta check on my parents.
Didn't Reginald say that your
We can
parents
check
went to the
there, but
Crane
I-
farm?
Yes.
Let's go to the crane house.
Yes.
All right.
To the Crane house.
All right. This house is a bit smaller than the Belcher homestead. And there is no porch. There's just a large flat stone placed in front of the door to serve as a step up. Do you knock? Do you enter? What do you do?
Both.
Grabbing the shield,
Yeah.
I just kind of rap gently with my mace.
It makes sort of a hollow sound as that sort of loose door. That's the sound of your mace hitting the wood, and then the door sort of clacking in the frame. So there's a sort of double sort of but there is no answer from within.
Oh, geez. I mean, usually we hear something from the crane wife.
Then in times of emergency, you open the door and make sure everyone's okay.
As you say that, Timothy, though none of the others would realize this, you remember your mom telling you in a letter that the crane wife had passed away a year ago.
Oh.
And
Oh, Mr. Crane might still be here.
he's been dead for about 5 years.
I said there were two sisters.
But there are two young
I
women.
said there were two sisters.
The sisters, the Crane sisters that live here. You know that they are named Rose and Grace.
Well, let's see if the Crane sisters, Rose and Grace, are still here.
Is there a wheelbarrow outside anywhere?
Question.
There is a wheelbarrow that is leaned up against the barn.
Might we go check the barn? I think if all of these people came up
Yes.
here, it feels like they might be in there as more space to hold a lot of people, especially if they're sick. You know what I mean? Maybe they didn't want them in the house.
That's a very good idea.
Good idea.
We'll go
All
to walk
right.
over to the barn.
Come along, Timothy. It's gonna
Again,
be all right.
hoisting my shield. Let's do this.
All right.
We'll
Line
head
to the
over to the
barn.
barn and knock, knock, knock.
Oh, heavens no. Just, hello? Is there
You-
anyone here?
You open up the barn. The doors are kind of loose on their rusty hinges, though they seem to have been perhaps oiled recently. They make very little sound as the door opens. You catch the faint smell of freshly cut straw as you open the door. There's streaks of sunlight that are coming through the slats of the barn wood, illuminating the inside where you see the light catching motes of dust floating through the air. There are rows of pallets that are very neatly arranged, catching the sunlight wherever possible. Upon all of these pallets, you see Dr. Bigby, Mr. and Mrs. Belcher, the 7 Belcher children, Mr. and Mrs. Augustus, and several others from the town. All of them are laying in these pallets with loose blankets pulled up around them. Their arms either at their side or resting peacefully across their chests. Blankets pulled up sort of midway up under their arms. And you hear the faint sound of snoring coming from everyone in the room. You see, moving amongst the people, the 2 Crane sisters. One seems to be moving gently from pallet to pallet. She is adjusting blankets. She occasionally moves somebody's hair out of their face, dabs at a forehead with a cool cloth. She appears to be the older of the 2. Probably, she looks like she's probably in her early 20s. She has that look of somebody that is just leaving behind their youthful appearance and coming fully into adulthood. The other girl is seated actually at Mrs. Augustus. at her bedside. She has a more athletic build about her, but the most notable feature you see is that she has her hair pulled up into a top knot, and her hair is just this bright combination of blues, greens, and reds. That's been that way as long as you've known her, Timothy. And she has a bowl of soup and has propped your mother's head up. Though your mother appears to be sound asleep, she is very gently spooning broth into your mother's mouth.
Hi, Rose. Hi, Grace.
They don't seem to notice you.
Hello. Rose and Grace. Hello.
Grace, the older of the two, finishes what she's the person she's with, who happens to be Dr. Bigby, dabbing lightly at his forehead, making a final adjustment to his blanket. She sets the wet cloth down on the side of the pallet, stands up and sort of wipes her hands on her the front of her blouse and turns. Oh, goodness. Timothy, I had heard you might be coming. I wasn't certain when.
Well, it's the Harvest Festival. Of course I'm coming for the Harvest Festival. I always come home on holidays.
I'm afraid it doesn't look like there'll be a Harvest Festival this year. And she sort of looks around at all of the townsfolk laid out on the pallets.
Aw. What happened?
Well, it's been about 10 days or so since we first learned that things were not right. Things started getting quiet, most particularly out at the Belcher farm. That's where Rose first noticed, when she was out hunting, that there was no sounds there. And more, we began to notice that the children were not to be seen. Rose was able to get to the Belchers and find that all of their children, starting with the youngest, had become weak and eventually fell into an unwakeable slumber. She was able to help them load up the family's horses and bring them here. After that, we began going to various homesteads and collecting the people. Everywhere we went, we found people were mysteriously asleep, some still in their beds, some having fallen where they lay. Dr. Bigby had fallen in his stables. I'm glad we found him when we did. We've been keeping them fed so they keep their strength up. We keep them comfortable. Nothing we try will wake them.
Well, do we know how everybody's getting sick? Do we know anything?
How do you two feel?
That was my next question.
Well, we feel great.
Interesting.
No reason to understand why. We really haven't had much of a chance to think on it too much.
Do you normally hang out with the others in town, associate, go to parties, dinners, brunches, that type of thing?
We go into town to get supplies when necessary. We trade, we sell. We go into the store to purchase things, but nobody seems to have given us whatever this is.
Reginald, the friendly little shrub that we passed on the way, mentioned some strangers about in town. Did you run into them at all?
At that, you hear the other younger woman speak up. What's that? Strangers, you say?
Yeah, it was just what Reginald said. Something about some strange people he didn't recognize coming to town, not being very friendly.
She
Although that
casts a
shrub-
glance over at Grace, who just sort of gives a look of, I don't know. That's quite unusual. Reginald knows everybody in this town. Has for years.
So we gathered. So you've not seen anyone then?
Well, speaking of knowing everybody in this town, now I know you, Timothy Augustus, but I
Oh,
don't
God.
know these other three.
Good Lord, I keep forgetting to introduce people. Sorry, can we blame it on the fact that my parents are lying here unconscious?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I feel that's
Well, that's
fair.
no reason to forego your manners. And at
I'm
that,
s-
Grace gives a sharp Rose. It's his
I'm
mother
sorry,
and
Miss
father.
Grace. So these are my friends, Miss BB, and Miss Theodora Cain. Actually, I forget. Are you between husbands?
Currently, yes.
Okay, Miss Theodora Cain, and Rodney and Pip.
Well, I'm Rose. This is Grace.
It's really a pleasure to meet you both. And sorry, speaking on strangers coming in, three strangers here, not introducing ourselves. You have to forgive us. It's been quite the day for, well, all kinds of reasons, to be honest.
Rose and I used to go to school. She used to beat me in the wrestling.
Yeah, that tracks.
That checks out.
Imagine I probably still could. With one
Probably.
hand tied behind my back.
I imagine you could at that. Well, if you two haven't seen the strangers that the shrub was telling us about, I think that's the first bit of a lead we've got to go on, though it's not much of one.
Oh, to be fair, we've not been making many forays into town. Rose went into Dr. Bigby's a couple of days ago and gathered all the medical supplies he had. But other than that, we haven't, as I said, we haven't had a
Right.
chance to really investigate.
Hmm.
How long have you been here? Did you just arrive today? I assume.
Indeed.
You came
About
straight
2
here.
hours ago.
Oh, yeah.
We actually passed by the Belcher farm first, then stopped by Dr. Bigby's before we came out here.
Please,
A Popinarian.
let me get you something to drink. You must be parched.
Oh, you're too kind.
And she walks over to a side table where you see a single blue, sort of a baby blue teacup is sitting there. And then there's several glasses that are sitting there. She picks up this teacup and she pours from it more liquid than it should contain into one of the glasses, and then pours into another glass and another glass and another, until she's filled 4 glasses. And she picks them up, kind of just expertly grabs all 4 of them and walks them around to each of you. And when she gets to you, Rodney, she just sort of kind of glances up at your shoulder. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if...
No trouble at all. He's had his fill of water and he'll have to go to the bathroom. You know, he's all day in the toilet if we give him too much of the water. So it's all right, no worries.
Rose speaks up, kind of, she's right, all of a sudden just seems to be right at your shoulder.
Oh,
And she's kind of looking at Pip quizzically. You're going to want to keep an eye on that one. That's one thing
why?
I've noticed. Is ever since whatever this is has started, animals have been behaving very strangely.
Well, Pip
Oh!
is strange.
Animals. We have the
Yeah.
Belcher bull outside. Buddy's out there. We
And the
also have Dr.
doctor's
Bigby's-
dog.
Yeah, Dr.
You brought
Bigby's
Buddy the
dog.
Belcher Bull? Boy, what were you thinking?
no.
Yes.
Boy, howdy.
So we got Buddy the Belcher bull, and we got Dr. Bigby's dog, and as well as a cat.
I think the cat might belong to Theodora now. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe she belongs to the cat.
Cats choose their people. I think I'm a temporary substitute.
Mm.
I was kind of
Oh,
thought.
I am a little bit.
Oh,
But
She's
yeah, we
at
got
this
all
point,
the
she's just
animals.
kind of wearing the cat like a stole. It's just draped over her shoulders.
No idea where you got that one from.
None whatsoever.
I don't ever do that.
No, never. I've never seen that happen.
That's a self-defense stole, is what that is.
that's
That-
right. That's right.
It's
It
helpful.
is.
Well,
Get too close. It'll...
I can't say I know. I mean, there's lots of cats around here. Could be anybody's, but yeah, Dr. Bigsby's dog, I'm sure. I don't know, maybe we should let him in. Maybe he'll offer some kind of solace for him or something. Maybe it'll help.
The
But
poor
if
thing
nothing
is looking
else,
for one.
When I think the poor dog's been missing his master, so it'd be good for
Yes.
him too.
I mean, the scratch marks on the door alone. Of course, this poor pup wants to be with his master.
And thank you for the advice about Pip. I'll keep an eye. He's a hearty sort. I think he'll be all right.
Well, you're going to be looking around town. Just mind yourself. That bull, that dog, aren't the only things roaming around. I've seen a few of the other pets and livestock roaming around town. They never seem to go far, but like as I said, they're acting very strange.
Miss Rose, Miss Grace.
Timothy Augustus, I'm the same age as you.
Yeah, but if I don't use proper manners around your older sister, she'll yell at me.
She's already got her hands, her arms sort of just crossed and just given that kind of...
Miss Grace and Miss Rose, two things. One, I was very sorry to hear about your dad and your mom. Two, may I take a look at everybody here?
If there's anything you think you can offer to help, Timothy, please do.
Yeah, two things. One, I cast Detect Magic.
Okay.
So I kneel over my parents and I just kind of hold my shield and mutter a little bit to myself. And the shield starts to glow a little bit and I cast Detect Magic.
As you do so, you do not see anything glowing on your parents or any of the other patients in the area. You do notice a very faint aura that seems to just linger about the entirety of Rose's person.
Miss Rose,
Yes, Timothy.
you're not supposed to be glowing.
She kind of looks at herself. I'm not.
What I mean is right now I can see anything magical and you are magical. And I know that sounds like a compliment, but I mean that in a very literal sense.
She kind of walks up to you and she gives you sort of a smirk and she goes, Timothy Augustus, you trying to get me to wrestle with you again?
No, ma'am. I meant that in a very literal sense. I can see anything magical right now and you're glowing.
Right. Well, that's actually not surprising. And she just says, that's been that way ever since I was little. Encountered, I think they were an elf in the woods when I was 5, 6 years old. And that's when my hair became like this. They said it was a gift. The words they used were that I was fey-touched.
Oh,
Oh.
lovely.
Does
We're not all
Timothy
that
know what
bad.
that
The
means?
Fae wander about.
You could make a history check if you'd like.
Okay.
I am standing right
Speaking
here.
Speaking as someone who is connected with the fair folk, that makes a lot of sense as to what might be going on here if you have fae in the area.
I got a dirty 20.
Oh, this was years ago. You know enough about the Fae to know that they, that the elven kind are Fae touched. That there is a realm known as the Feywild that exists alongside your own realm. It is a realm of magic, often chaotic. And that's about all you know.
So Miss Rose, then Miss Rose, but if you were touched by a magical realm and you've been touched by a magical realm for a long time, might this have something to do, except this isn't magic right now. I don't see anything magic on my parents or anybody else here. I only see magic on you. I cast Cure Wounds on my mom.
There is one other thing that is glowing magical. And that is the blue teacup.
I don't see anything magical, but I always suspected that teacup. But oh dear. Okay, I cast Cure Wounds on my mom.
Okay. There is no effect. She doesn't seem to be wounded. Why don't you go ahead and make me a medicine check? Or nature, if you prefer.
Could BB help him with that?
Certainly.
Oh no, BB, no. That's even with that. That's not good. I got an 11 on medicine.
Okay, just as a reminder, you, through the generosity of the community, you have 7 domain
Oh, I
dice
had
available.
So many.
Or rerolls.
Gosh,
Look at that.
They've been subscribing and gifting subs, and I've been
They've
adding
been
them in.
lovely.
No, they're so
Oh,
lovely.
you're the best. Thank you.
I don't know, chat. Should I use one of the domain dice to try and get advantage on this?
I'm not chat, but yes.
Yes.
Okay, well we got team consensus. Oh God, I'm gonna start talking like Timothy in my everyday life. Good God.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and re-roll that. Yep.
Yay!
Yep. Chat saying Hawkmere and Cypher of Tyr are saying yes.
Okay, well that's much better. I got a 21.
Okay. So you, as you're looking over your mother in particular, you know your mother. The chat command is domain dice. You know your mother more and your father more than you know these other folks. So you have a bit of an idea of what to look for. Your mother is a healthy woman. She is a little graying and has a few wrinkles and weather-worn skin. She's got rough hands from working the orchard and working the farm. But she's always been very strong and healthy. You do not expend a spell slot as you attempt to cast Cure Wounds because there's nothing to heal. She does not appear to be under any kind of stress or duress. You notice that they do respond very slightly in moving towards the light whenever a ray of light happens to move across them that's coming in through the barn. They seem to respond a little bit to the light. They are able to drink in small quantities, as you've seen from Rose feeding them the broth. Um, and you notice that you said you got a 21.
Yep.
You notice that the effects that you're seeing are eerily similar to poisoning by periwinkle, though much more intense.
Hey, everybody. So, near as I can tell, the closest thing I can figure out that this could be is this is really similar to periwinkle poisoning.
Periwinkle poisoning.
Are there large
Wait a minute, ladies,
collections
you
of-
don't drink from the well, do you?
Oh.
Well,
That's a very good question.
no, we don't. We've got this cup here. It was a gift from our aunt. She was an adventurer like you guys. I mean, in so much as she was dressed with, or going out and about and carrying weapons on her person and going out into the world and doing things. I mean, it's never really been much of good for anything other than, well, saving us trips to the well.
I think
Something
it's done
tells
you-
me yep, rhyme with Rodney.
He's done you more good than you think, I think. Right. We should definitely
Might
have a
save
look.
you from being poisoned.
Indeed. We should have a look at the well, but also, any of the three of you from around here, are there periwinkle patches or groves? I'm going to be honest, I don't know what a periwinkle is, but are there lots of them around here?
Are we talking about the aquatic animal or a flower?
Small blue flower. Normally it grows in more
Flower.
dank places, sort of like a
Aquatic
moss.
animal named a periwinkle?
Ground cover.
That's significantly less upsetting than if it was a small aquatic creature, so I'm glad we're going with flowers.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can find a grove.
Rose and Grace sort of look at each other. I don't know why we didn't think of this. Yes. Everybody would be drinking from the town's water supply, except for us. I mean, the only other sources of water are the sludge water, and nobody drinks that. I mean, it's safe enough for fishing and swimming and such, but there's just too much silt and mud that gets kicked up all the time. And, well, certainly nobody is drinking from the witch's whirl. Which, Timothy, is a watering hole to the north that no matter what time of year, this watering hole is freezing cold. And everybody in the town, for as long as you can remember, has believed this watering hole to be cursed. Nobody will drink from it. Nobody will swim in it. Nobody will fish in it. Perhaps in your youth, you and some of the other children may have on a dare gone near it. You decide if you would have had the guts to dip a toe or attempt to.
No.
Then you
Timothy?
knew well enough to leave well enough alone. That this, if everybody in the town believes this to not be a safe source of water, nobody drinks from it. All of that to say, it sounds like the well is the common source of water that everybody's been drinking from.
So is there anything? Actually, I want to use my researcher background feat in this case to see if there was any resources at Dr. Bigby's office to research possible poisons and cures for various local flora and fauna.
Well, while the effects of what you're seeing seem similar to periwinkle poisoning, it seems to be that what you're seeing is much more intense. It's very similar, but you're not entirely sure if it's exactly periwinkle poisoning.
Gosh, I wonder if Dr. Bigby has any sort of writings or resources or books on what this actually is, because it's a little different than periwinkle poisoning, but because you're really not supposed to eat periwinkles, either the snail or the flowers, because the snails can, shellfish. But I wonder if Dr. Bigby has any research that might help us.
We could also, I mean, I think it's a good point, even if it's not really periwinkle, it's a good point that the well might be a good place to go looking, just to see if maybe there's a bit of it left over or some sort of sign of where it might come from that could help us cross-reference with the doctor's information.
Yes.
Couldn't hurt.
So back to town.
Can we leave the bull?
Back to town.
Let's leave the bull and the dog. The cat can come along.
Yes, you can absolutely leave Buddy the Belcher Bull here.
Yeah, we should leave Buddy the Belcher Bull.
And the dear darling Dr. Dog?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely leave Doctor's dog.
As you sort of look towards where when you came into the barn, you notice that the Labrador is already curled up at the feet of Dr. Bigby and is laying with his head resting on Dr. Bigby.
My heart.
I think you'll be just fine here. Why don't we carry on? We'll come back and check on him in a bit.
Probably a good idea.
All right. So you've decided to head back in the town to check out the well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What's in the worder?
So it doesn't take you long. The crane farm is just a little ways down a path through the woods. And you head back along this path. And again, the first building you come to is Dr. Bigby's. And moving around that, the next largest building is what's it called again? The Boot and Slippers Tavern.
The
the
Boot
tavern,
and
yeah,
Slipper.
And the well is at the
Oh, yeah.
north edge of the tavern. I would like everybody to make me a perception check as you're heading over that way.
That's going to be a 12.
10.
14.
7.
All right. Very
Did
well.
not do so
Very
well with this
distracted
one.
by the cat.
I did all right.
All right. So you head towards the well. And as you get up towards the well, you do see that the area all around the base of the well, I mean, it's a pretty traditional looking stone well. It's got a wooden roof over it, a winch with a bucket. You see that it looks like it's pretty well worn around there, though there haven't been any recent footsteps that you've noticed as you're approaching. And what are you going to do?
I think to start, Rodney anyway is going to go over to the well. Is there a bucket? Is the bucket up? Is the bucket down? Is
It's
there a
up.
bucket?
It's up.
It's up. Yeah, so I think that's probably step one. And then if nothing's in there, then just sort of checking, like the inside edge rim of the well itself. I don't know why he thinks that he's going to do a good job.
I'm
at
going
this,
to
but...
look around for any discarded containers.
Oh.
I'm gonna go read some books.
I'm gonna go and produce flame with my hands to at least light as much of inside the well as possible so we can get a closer look.
So the well is about waist high. And the opening is large enough that a full-grown humanoid could fit inside if they were to attempt to go down. The rough walls would offer handholds and such. It appears to be quite a deep well. There's a large coil of rope looped around the winch. BB, your light doesn't seem to penetrate more. I mean, it can only penetrate about 30 feet, and you still see darkness beyond. There's no containers in the area around. And then you hear the sound. Something tells me that more than one of you have heard this sound before. It is the unmistakable sound of steel being drawn from a sheath. As you hear shing, and then you hear a voice go, well, well, well. What have we got here?
A whale.
Oh,
And
Theodora will stop and turn very slowly, just smiling.
oh.
Hello.
Am I here for this, or am I in Dr. Bigby's
and who are
office?
you?
this is about the time you would have turned around to go back towards Bigby's office. You see the 4 figures that are standing there. Rough looking individuals. They are 2 men and 2 women. The one who has just spoken, is a little bit larger than the others. His paunch of belly seeming to spill over his belt of his tunic. And from that belt hangs a now empty scabbard as a rather rusty and nicked sword is in his hands. Behind him stand 2 women and a man, all with swords equally drawn.
Hi.
None of the swords are shiny or anything. They're all rusted and dented looking.
They look like they've seen better days. They're not well taken care of.
Friends of yours, Timothy?
You've
Maybe.
never
Hi.
seen them
So-
before.
I'm Timothy. I live here.
So not yet is the answer.
Who are you?
I was gonna ask you the same question. Who are
Well, I already
you? But
answered
you
that.
just
I'm
told
Timothy. I
me.
live here.
I ain't seen you around here.
Well, I've
Ain't
been away
seen
at
none
school.
of you.
Well, these are so I've been away at school, but these are my friends.
Timothy,
Yes,
darling,
ma'am.
don't give them any more information.
Oh, please do, Timothy.
I would like to know who they are first.
That's a really good idea. Well, I've introduced myself. Who are you?
Who I am is of no consequence other than the one who's gonna stick you full of holes if you don't move on.
You make a threat against Timothy again, and you'll be
Oh.
doing it without a head.
Miss can what I really don't know how to address you, person.
One of the women
So,
behind him kind of she sort of does that thing where she kind of lunges forward and says, "His name's Chaz. You better call him Chaz too."
Oh, okay. Well, okay, Chaz.
Spaz?
Chaz. So yeah, so I've been away at school, but I came back for the Harvest Festival, and but everybody's sick.
You need to quit
and-
your talking, boy.
But you asked what I
I
was doing
don't want to
here.
hear any more from you, or I will cut your lips off your mouth.
Teddy.
There's no
I'll
need.
tell you what then, you can hear from me. If
I-
you don't like listening to Timothy's voice, you can listen to mine and you can answer my questions or you can
Te-
leave. Is that understood,
Teddy-
sir?
Make me an intimidation check.
Sure. That is going to be intimidation. Oh, that's a 25.
that adds up.
Eddie's good
Okay.
at intimidating.
That's her thing.
It is my thing. Like, I always roll well on intimidations.
Okay. Chaz rolled an at 20.
Oh,
At least with Teddy.
get it, Chaz.
The others, I don't know, Chaz. I don't know really that we ought to be messing around with these folks here. You better shut up, Dee Dee. Now, you know, Dee Dee's got a point there, Chaz. You know, they look like they know what they're doing. I said,
A little
shut
purple
up,
flame
knuckle
dances up from the fingertip of Theodora's hand.
all right.
I do know what
Oh
I'm
no,
doing.
Mr.
In
Chaz,
fact,
you
we
really don't
all
want to do this.
Chaz kind of looks over his shoulders and says, he said not to let anybody interfere. This looks like interfering to me.
Oh, who's they?
None of your damn business. And he comes lunging at you, and I need you all to roll initiative.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
By the way, I had produce
Attack
flame
mode.
is already in my hand.
Okay. And I will get your initiatives in a moment.
18.
I'm just going to let everybody else go first. That was totally my plan. I always roll bad on initiative.
Oh, darling.
Every character.
Okay, let me roll some initiative here. Let me look at it. Oh. And okay. BB, what you got?
18.
Theodora.
7.
Not so great. Timothy.
13.
All right. And Rodney.
17.
Okay, here is our batting order. BB, you are going to go first, followed by Rodney. And that one. A couple others are going to go. And then Timothy, you're going to go. And then Theodora. Oh, wait. Before Theodora, somebody else is going to go. Let me get that number right. Then Theodora is going to go. And then this last one. Okay. BB, what you going to do? You got 4 rough-looking individuals coming at you.
Yes, well, that roughest one I'm not too much a fan of. Darling Chaz is going to get a produced flame basically thrown in his face.
Oh,
So, yeah,
Told him
right.
you
that
didn't want
flame's
to
been
do this.
dancing in our hands. And that's going to be, does a 16 hit?
I do believe a 16 does hit.
Then that is 6 points of fire damage to his darling expression.
So you were throwing that at Chaz.
Oh, hell yeah.
So you hit Chaz, and this flame hits almost like liquid fire, just sort of spills across his shoulders. He immediately starts going, ah, ah, and all of the others sort of, whoa. And I need to make a check. Do 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 do.
we should keep one of them alive to question.
Everybody looks quite afraid. Not fully under the fear condition, but very taken aback by the action you've just taken. Anything else there, BB?
This is me on a bad day, children.
All right, Rodney, you are up next.
I think Rodney is going to get Pip down off of his shoulder and sort of hold him in both hands in front of him and just look right at Chaz. Chaz with a Z, yes?
Sure.
Okay. And say, now, I don't imagine you want any more of that. And Pip here is just full of piss and bile if you get him angry enough. So why don't you start telling us who your keeping us away from, eh?
Chaz looks like a cartoon character that just had a cigar blow up in his face. He's got soot just all over. He was already kind of balding, but any facial hair he had in his eyebrows all have that sort of crispy look about them. And go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Yeah. That is a 23.
Oh, that still beats him. I'm under orders to not let anybody interfere, and that includes you.
Right, of course. And under whose orders, Chaz, dear?
Nope, can't tell you.
Mistake.
No, hold on. Hold on. It's not that I won't tell you. It's that I can't.
Ah. That actually surprisingly changes things a bit. Well, from where do you get to? This is a very long turn. I realize I can stop if I need to.
Well, based on everybody's wisdom checks after BB's attack, and your persuasion roll, you have temporarily halted the momentum of the fight.
Well, in that case, well, excellent. If you can't tell me from whom you're getting your orders, then tell me from where you're getting your orders.
It's down there. And he tosses his head toward the well.
What tiny bit of like proper and fancy attitude and accent Rodney had managed to put on to persuade these individuals he just loses it and goes, well, shit.
It all comes back to the whale.
Does this mean I'm not blowing anyone up?
As you say that, one of the women in the back says, I don't understand, Chaz. I thought we were supposed to be sticking them full of holes. Are we not doing that?
I kind of like her.
Miss in the back.
She kind of looks like she's never been called Miss before. Me?
So, as much as I hate to, I hate to be impolite, and as much as I hate to say this, but as it appears that you've been part of hurting my mom and my dad, if you don't give us the information that we need, we will have to hurt you.
Nah. Nobody said nothing, Chaz, about hurting mamas and dads. Nobody said we was hurting no mamas and papas.
There's a whole barn full around the corner of many that you're hurting.
Way I understand it, ain't none of them hurting. They're just taking a long nap.
Have you ever woken from a long nap, Chaz? It's not pleasant.
Would you like to try?
Mr. Chaz, I'm feeling very irritable and sad and angry right now. I have a lot of feelings, and my family is in jeopardy, and you would rather deal with me than these two.
Make a persuasion check at advantage.
Yeah.
Advantage
Come
helps.
crashing down in 2 weeks. It's fine.
One.
I know, right?
The one that seemed to be so bothered by the fact that that their actions were harming mamas and papas, she seems the most affected by what you're saying. And she looks at the others and she says, I didn't know it was going to be like this. They just told us not to use the river. Said don't interfere, or told us to use the river if we wanted water, and said not to interfere. Said we were supposed to check back after a week. what you're looking for is you're looking. And you can see that her tongue is starting to swell up as she's trying to tell you something. The other two immediately look at her and they're like, "Oh no. No, 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 no." And they're backing away from her. She's looking and her tongue is just swelling up hugely in her mouth. And she drops her sword and she's like, and she's panicking.
Can I make an
This is
Arcana roll to see if
not
this
me.
seems like Fae?
Sure.
$16?
It doesn't necessarily reek of any kind of Fae magic in particular, but it does seem to be indicate you get a good strong sense this is a through whatever method that she, at least her, probably the others, were bound by some kind of a magic to prevent them from saying the name of whoever she was trying to say.
Oh, you made an oath, didn't you?
Even Chaz looks pretty upset at what's going on.
Well,
Yeah.
Go on.
We
Chaz.
made an oath. That's why I said we can't tell you.
But they're down there, and she points to the well.
Look, ain't none of us being paid enough for this. Yeah, who you're looking for is down there. We was just
Lovely.
hired to do a job.
Well, then be on your way. Your job is done.
Wait a minute. Come here a minute, Chaz.
I'd listen to Miss BB.
He kind of wipes at his brow and just leaves a streak of soot across his brow. I'm fine where I'm at.
You sure I can help you with that? Believe it or not, I don't always hurt and leave them hurting.
She's the nice one.
He looks at you and then he reaches back and he just grabs a hold of the arm of the girl who's grabbing at her jaw and where her tongue's swollen. And he kind of pulls her forward and towards you. You're going to help somebody, you help Kimmy.
Fair enough. All right, so I'll try Cure Wounds on Kimmy.
All right.
Oh, I have my doubts.
Go ahead and I want you to make a what's your spellcasting attribute?
Wisdom.
So make me a wisdom check and add your spellcasting modifier to it.
Oh, that'll be good. Okay, that is going to be a 19.
So you administer the cure wounds and you know that whatever curse it was that caused this, it's either going to be a period of time before this returns to normal, or there's some other method that she'll have to seek to get this to stop. But your magic is strong enough to stop it from progressing. It seems to relieve a bit, and she's able to open her mouth and draw air in. She's still quite wide-eyed, though admittedly she was before all of this too. They're all a little bit on the sketch side. All right. Look, we don't want no trouble, and we didn't mean to. Well, like I said, we know none of your kinfolk is necessarily hurting. They're just sleeping. But if you want to get to the bottom of this, you're going to have to get to the bottom of that. And he points to the well.
Chaz, go away. Go back to your
Run
home,
along,
wherever it is you came from. Just go away.
He looks at you. He makes a motion like he's going to lean down to pick up his sword. And then he stops and looks at Theodora and just sees the way she's looking at him. And he just kind of makes a dismissive motion towards the sword laying on the ground. Turns to the others. He goes, "Come on, Tommy, Kimmy, Dee Dee, let's go. There ain't nothing more for us here." And
Bye, Chaz. Bye, Tommy. Bye, Kimmy. Bye, Dee Dee.
they head out of town toward the bridge.
Well done, Pip.
Pip
Good
did a
job.
fantastic job.
You didn't even get through a full round of combat and you put a stop to that. I had 8 initiatives here and we got to the second person and Rodney just put a stop to the combat. I love this. I love it.
He's a smooth talker.
So
He's
As-
not much else, but he is that.
as the
Or
four
handsome no.
as the 4 ruffians head off across the bridge, Lorelei's bridge, on their way out of Grove, we see sort of a high angle shot of the town deserted, and we see the 4 of you standing watching as the 4 of them leave, and then you all turn towards the well, knowing that the only way forward is to go down below the Grove, which will be our next session of Hope and Redemption. And at the end of this session, you have all earned enough experience to level up to 2 before. So I would like you all to go ahead and make your hit point rolls, because one of the unique things about this adventure, Harper's Tale, is it is a series of 10 interconnected adventures that can be run as one-shots, telling a grander story. And the players will be leveling their characters after each session. What did you get? What'd you get there, V?
I got an 8.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent out.
Oh, my goodness. Let's see here.
And it's
really
worth
good 'cause-
noting that our first, okay, very good. I will say, if you do roll a 1 on your hit point roll, please re-roll it. But you have to take a 2 if you get a 2.
5. Yeah.
Um,
I rolled a 5.
Our first session here, Welcome to Grove, was actually written by Matt and Harper Courtley. Matt
Yay.
is Harper's father, and Harper is, of course, the Harper of Harper's Tale. They wrote this first adventure. 2 weeks
Aw.
from tonight, we will play our second session, which is, in fact, called Below the Grove. And that is, that session is written by Jeff C. Stevens. Of course, I put my own twist on things, and I'm leaning heavily on the players to sort of flesh out this world. So I hope you all had fun with this. This was a lot of fun for me. My first time getting to play with Dr. B and Eugenio and GoblinKatie, and with V in this dynamic. I already know how much of a wild card V can be with different mixes of people. So
Hey!
I'm one of those people. I play alongside
Oh.
V in a Nerdarchy monthly game, and
Lady, don't you dare. You know it's accurate.
Mhm.
I am not of snow.
But I also want to say,
Yeah, and I'm as pure as the driven slush.
I want to say a huge thank you to our audience tonight. I know we had quite a few people that came out. The cool thing is that everybody supported all of you with domain dice. You're sitting on 11 domain dice right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because of your generosity with subscriptions and gift subscriptions, I don't have one of those subscription counters on the screen. I don't set subscriber goals, but we did recently break 100 for the first time.
Nice.
And we also recently broke 1,400 followers on the channel. So
Nice.
just fun
Congrats.
things,
Oh, wow.
just fun things on the channel. So
Yeah.
we're currently sitting at 115 subscribers. And all of your
Woo.
subscriptions, of course, not only do they give domain dice to the players in this game and other games. For instance, in our Call of Cthulhu game tomorrow, they're Mythos dice, and not always are they good. But it does also support the channel. So thank you all so much for that. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and who who shared on social media about this game. We're all really excited to be able to bring this tale. I know Matt and Harper, I don't know if they were watching tonight. I think they plan on checking out some of the VODs later. I know Matt shared a couple tweets that Harper was quite excited to see that we were playing this as well, which just brings joy to my heart. I think this is an amazing story. I wanted a group of people to tell the story with, and I don't think I could have pulled together a better group of wonderful humans to take this journey with. So with that, I, of course, want to say a tremendous thank you to V, Katie, Dr. B, Eugenio, without whom it would just be me talking to myself for 2.5 hours. So thank you all. With that, we are going to end the stream. Oh, before I do that, I do want to tell you, because I know we had some new people here tonight. We do have our continuing Mythos Investigators miniseries, Illicit Tower Horror, run by Dwight the Big Bearded Nerd, in which I am a player. That's our Call of Cthulhu game. Our next session is tomorrow night, and I believe it is our second to the last session of that monthly game. The Dawnbringers are off again this Thursday, but as I mentioned at the beginning, we will be returning a week from Thursday with V sitting in the DM seat, taking the players of the Dawnbringers and myself through BB's place. So it's wonderful to get to see a different side of BB in that. And of course, Friday nights you can tune in at 10 p.m. Eastern for Alan's Curse of Strahd game. That is a long running game on this channel. But before that, I will also be over on the Big Bearded Nerd channel playing the Mech-Spendables, a mecha hack game using the mecha hack rules from Absolute Tabletop. So as you can tell, lots of amazing games going on, ending the week out or beginning it, depending on your perspective. On Sunday night, I'll be over on Talon and Claw's Twitch channel with Gary from Fort Nerd and GM Travis as we sail the SS Failboat in our Sea of Thieves stream, as we try to be the best of the worst pirates on the high seas. So with that, we are now going to end this stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.
Metadata.